Good evening, everyone. How are you tonight? All right. I have my lovely co-hosts with me tonight, Jackie and Abby. How are y'all?
Great.
Good.
Great.
I'm so excited y'all are here. We have an exciting night because as we kind of predicted, thought, expected, hoped, last week we alluded that we were going to do our show to honor, to celebrate women, but also if Katanji Brown Jackson was formally nominated, and she was confirmed after her nomination. That was very tumultuous. We all know, we talked about that a little bit last week, but very excited that she was definitely confirmed yesterday. So extremely excited tonight to celebrate that win, to talk about not just Judge Katanji Brown Jackson, but also other powerful women. So we have a great episode. Looking forward to talking with you all, and then a couple of other ladies who are going to come on as well in a little bit. So we are going to go ahead and get started. We are again going to be celebrating the social hour tonight, is celebrating with our special 1 hour. We usually only do every other Friday, but now we're going to go ahead and do another Friday in a row to celebrate this tonight. So again, the update that we all received yesterday, nationally, internationally, right? Katanji Brown Jackson has definitely been confirmed as of April 7th, 2022 to the Supreme Court of the United States. And this is amazing because she is literally a pioneer as the first Black female, right, who has done something like this, right? Not for any lack of qualified candidates, amazing Black females, but we all know in our country, right, it's just not equal oftentimes. So tonight, not only are we celebrating her, but we're also going to be celebrating other pioneering, powerful, and pulchritudinous women. Pulchritudinous, of course, if you don't know, means beautiful, but notice that was last because women are powerful and pioneering first. All right, so we are going to hop straight into it. And again, to celebrate her, Miss Katanji Brown Jackson. We are going to get into a little bit of information, right? I'm going to definitely stick with my time. I know everyone is going to be doing that. But she was, for my 3 minutes, her credits for her early interest, what she gives credit to in the legal profession. She would sit at her dining table and do study sessions with her father while he was at law school and she was in preschool in Miami. She said that he had all of his law books stacked up and she had all of her coloring books stacked up. I just thought that was a cute story. Then both of her parents had actually attended segregated primary schools and HBCUs before rising through the ranks of the Miami-Dade public school system. She not only, what she's just achieved yesterday, but she had already received numerous awards throughout her career. In 2021, Columbia's University Law School awarded her the Constance Baker Motley Award for empowering women of color and advancing the rights of people and demonstrating a legacy of giving back to the community. When she gave her acceptance speech, she said that the responsibility of being a judge means doing the work that is necessary to protect the rule of law and to promote equality and justice for all. But again, she has more experience than any of the 4 current justices combined. And she's also the first and only justice with experience as a public defender. With that experience as a public defender, that really deepens her understanding of the U.S. justice system and how it really touches people's lives. Also, the first Supreme Court justice since Thurgood Marshall, right, the first Black gentleman to have represented indignant criminal defendants. So she shares a birthday, though, with Constance Baker Motley. And again, the first Black woman, Constance Baker Motley, was to ever be appointed as a federal judge. And so Jackson said that she stands on the shoulders, right, and shares her commitment to equal justice under the law. She quoted that she could only hope that her life and career, my love of this country, and the Constitution will inspire future generations of Americans. And she definitely is. Her humbleness, though, really seems to be really genuine. During her speech after being nominated by President Biden in February, she addressed the retiring Justice Breyer directly and said the members of the Senate will decide if I fill your seat, but please know I could never fill your shoes. But then she definitely is going to fill his seat. Again, we got the notification yesterday. So she has now done, right? She has made history. So it was a historic confirmation yesterday to the U.S. Supreme Court as, again, the first female Black Supreme Court justice in the United States as of April 7th, 2022. I thought it was interesting. One of her favorite poems is The Ladder of St. Augustine by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. And she says it speaks to the discipline necessary to succeed in law. It says, the heights by great men were reached and kept, were not attained by sudden flight, but they, while their companions slept, were toiling upward in the night. So, right, she has been toiling. She's been working long hours when other people might be sleeping or, relaxing or whatever. She's really doing that. And obviously her family, we've gotten to see her daughters look upon her lovingly, her husband, all of her friends who were supporting her when others were trying to tear her down. It was just quite amazing to see how, none of that dissuaded her. So now I am going to, again, I'm so excited that she was officially confirmed. So now for the next 3 minutes, we're going to hear about another amazing woman. And we are going to let Jackie take this away. So Jackie, go ahead and tell us about your pioneering, powerful, pulchritudinous woman.
Okay, the person I chose was Cicely Tyson. I remember years and years ago, I used to look at her in movies. Even she made movies before I was born. Mm-hmm. And she grew up in Harlem, New York. Her parents were immigrants. Mm-hmm. And when she started her career, she didn't know that it would take off as it did. She made I think it was over 102 movies. Mm. And the movies that I really like was Miss Jane Pittman, when she played in Roots, and she played a Tyler Perry movie, Diary of a Mad Black Woman. And I really like Diary of a Mad Black Woman because she was one of the older members of the family. And she was talking about, how kids today in the movie, they didn't really, look toward the older people. They would be doing other things than what they were supposed to do. And I thought that was a good role she played in. I also say she had a lot of grit, especially in Miss Jane Pittman, because at the end near the end of the movie, when they had the signs of black and white, she walked past the police and she walked down to that water fountain and drank out of that water fountain. And that's what I liked about her. And I also did some more research on her. I didn't know she was married to Miles Davis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she was married to Miles Davis, and she said that she really loved she really loved him, but he was into the drugs and alcohol, and she said that they could work together if he would just go into treatment. So during the time that I remember her saying, reading, no, I remember reading that she said that she told him he needed to, get cleaner, but she stuck with him through the time of death. And before he passed away, he told her, trying to remember what he told her. He told her that he loved her, but it could have been done better, something like that. She had one daughter by her previous husband. And that lasted it. He just walked away from her, and I think that lasted about 8 years until she got a divorce from him. And I didn't know she played in the movie 12 Angry Men. And that was one of her movies that I liked. And I didn't know that was her in it until I just started looking up the movies that she played in. And I said,
What was the name of the book you said lately you had been reading by her?
Oh, Just As I Am.
And what was your favorite part out of that so far?
Oh, she talked about, her different roles in it. What I mostly liked about it that she had mentioned in there, it was about the Emmys, the awards that she had received. And she said at the time, when she was doing that, she didn't know that that's where she had really made it as a Black actress.
Well, thank you so much. You taught me a lot about her tonight. And I really like, I would be interested in reading her book. I told you I'm definitely going to be watching one of her movies when I finally get my break from grading that I had on my table to watch. All right. So now we are going to hear about another pioneering, powerful, pulchritudinous woman from Abiola. She is also one, but she's going to be telling us about another one tonight. All right, Abby, go ahead and take it away.
I don't know if a lot of people really know Shakira Kane. Actually, she was before Shakira Kane was Shakira Badge. She was she was born in British Guiana, which is now Guyana, which people tend to think it's in Africa, which is actually in South America. She was, I don't know why I like to say for some reason my sister hates it. She was she was in a beauty pageant. I don't know if it's Miss World or Miss Universe. Miss Universe or whatever. I don't care. Because she is not really influential in my life. If I had to really, really pick an influential person, it would be my mom. But we're going to go with her for tonight. But she is actually married to Michael Caine, which I don't think a lot of people know, that he's actually married to an immigrant. Because after migrating from Guyana.
Look, the bully is going to eat chocolate.
Thank you. This is the life of a mom, you guys. Sorry. Yes, and I don't know if a lot of people know that he's actually married to her. And she was born actually, like I say, February 23rd, 1947. Former Miss Guyana actress and model. So she was actually an actress too, but I think she gave up acting when she got married to him so that she can raise their daughter Natasha in the UK. So she's still living there. They've been married 46 years. So that's a lot of years being married. So, a lot of
Chase.
She's in a meeting.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah, she's very influential. I think mostly around the older generation because I think a lot of the younger generation don't even know she exists.
Yeah,
Like
I didn't know until you told me that was his wife, and I was like, oh, because I was, yeah.
Like a lot
And
of people do not
I love him
know.
as an actor, but now I'm like, oh, I want to know about her more. But
Yes, a lot of the younger generation do not know. And I think because, well, I'm a 70s baby, so I know. But if you ask the actual, 80s, 90s babies, they don't know. My mom's generation do know about her. She was a really, if you can see from our pictures, really beautiful woman. And like, there's a lot of Guyanese people of Guyanese descent that people don't realize that is in the acting business. Like for instance, we all know Rihanna's her mom is Guyanese. We have Sean Patrick from that movie, I think the dancing movie. He is from Guyanese descent. But yeah, there's a lot of us doing great things. But she was one person that I always, migrated to or navigated to is the ideal word because it was so empowering to see like a woman because she's of East Indian background, make it big out of Guyana, married to somebody of a different race. They made it work because a lot of times, going to another country and living overseas, a lot of times, rarely do you see them marry outside of their race. And, like to somebody from such a small country, like, and I'm wondering sometimes, is he married to her because she was in the beauty business? Or was it, that kind of always throw me for a loop with that kind of situation. Is it because she was pretty, she was in the modeling business, she looked a certain way or something like that? But yeah, she is still married to him. They have one child. I think they have grandkids at this present time, but I haven't seen an autobiography on her as yet. Like Miss Williams said, like Cicely Tyson have an autobiography. I would really love for her to write an autobiography about her life, to see the progression of her life leaving, Guyana, migrating to the UK. How did that work out? How did she meet her husband? How did that whole thing transpire? I would love for her to like write something about her life, but I haven't seen a autobiography written about her, or about her by herself or some other person doing it as yet.
Whenever I was looking up pictures to put this on here, I saw that one quote by him. I thought it was cute. It says, "I called her 11 times before she agreed to meet with me." So obviously he was chasing after her. He was trying to win her. So like you said, she's still a beautiful woman, even in the photos, right, when she's older. So I love that. I think Miss M3 is here. I don't know. I'm going to add her to the stream and see if we can hear her as well. Miss M3, can you hear us? We want to know if we can hear you as well. We're going to go ahead and go to the next pioneering, powerful, pulchritudinous woman. And then, of course, we'll love to hear from Miss M3 when she's able to get on. So the next woman that I chose, her name is Tara Houska. A lot of people have not heard about her either. She is of the Bear Clan, Kuchiching First Nation, Indigenous. The first time I actually heard about her, she was going to be with Bernie Sanders. She was going to, if he won president, she was going to represent the Native American affairs or Indigenous affairs as his advisor. But then, of course, he unfortunately didn't win. She currently and ongoing is a tribal attorney, a land defender, what's called a MIDI, a sun dancer and a former, again, like I mentioned, where I heard of her was when she was going to be Indigenous Affairs advisor to Bernie Sanders. But she really goes above and beyond advocating on behalf of tribal nations at both the local and the federal levels on a huge range of issues that impact Indigenous people. She spent like 6 entire months living and working in North Dakota for the Dakota Access Pipeline. I remember when I worked with Jackie at Neely's Band at a charter here in Nashville, I almost quit because I was wanting to go work on the Dakota Access Pipeline. And that's when I started hearing a lot more about her. But she still continues to talk about things, continues to advocate. Again, she goes to the Capitol to fight for her people. Oftentimes people assume all Indigenous people are on reservations, or they treat them kind of as outcasts, and she does not allow them to talk about her people like that on Capitol Hill. She also started a foundation. It's called Not Your Mascot. She was one of the founders of that. So any of the sports teams, right, that try to say disrespectful things or call people Redskins, there's tons of like Atlanta Braves, all the tribes. Some Indigenous people do agree with that, and they say at least they're somewhat represented still. She is completely against that. But again, she fights for both climate change, anything related to Indigenous rights, with being a land defender and a tribal attorney. And so she just is really inspiring to me. She's done TED Talks. She's really amazing. So if you are interested in things like that, she is someone to watch, someone that's still very active. And I thought it was beautiful. She's having a child. She's pregnant right now. There's a photo of her on the bottom. She was saying in the photo when she captioned it, it was like her spirits, the people in her land, right, that were like the smoke behind her. She was saying they were blessing her children, things like that. So she's a huge advocate of the land. All right. So again, I'm not sure. I think Miss M3 is having a little bit of technical issues. Let's see if our next speaker is ready. Jackie, are you about to be ready to speak about your next person? If not, we can go to Abiola's next person. All right, we're going to go to Abby. So Abiola, can you speak to us about your next powerful, pulchritudinous, and pioneering woman? Here we go.
Okay, I think by now everybody know this is Leticia. I think Leticia, if I'm saying her name correctly, right. She is the young lady that came in Black Panthers, y'all. Drum roll. Okay, so everybody know Black Panther was like the biggest movie a few years ago. Mm-hmm. But I don't know people knew that this young lady was of Guyanese descent either. Mm-hmm. So we were doing an actual project. I was actually doing my kids. So we were trying to like Google, Google is like the biggest thing ever lately, even though it's half of the time they may not be right with everything that they give to us. But in the process of Googling her, famous Guyanese people or influential Guyanese people, this young lady popped up like right up top because at the then time it was the Black Panther movie. She was born in England, but her parents are actually Guyanese, but she traveled a lot to Guyana. So she's very familiarized with the Guyanese culture. And she even went back, I think once the Black Panther movie became really popular, she went home to Guyana, they had this big old welcoming party for her and all this kind of stuff. So like I said previously with Shakira Badge / Shakira Kane, a lot of first generation kids like mine that are born here to Caribbean and South American parents are doing like tremendous things, but a lot of times you don't hear about it because they tend to shy away a lot from saying who they are, because I've noticed that a few years ago, and I'm going to drop this tidbit before I go back to her. Nobody knew a couple of years ago that Deborah Cox was actually of Guyanese descent. And she's an R&B singer out of Canada. Until what is the other Canadian singer? That Melanie Fiona has always been very blunt about being of Guyanese descent because her parents are Guyanese. Her other 3 siblings were born in Guyana. She's the only one that's Canadian, and she's always made it very clear that she is of Guyanese descent. But for years, nobody knew that Deborah Cox was Guyanese until Melanie Fiona started being like really, letting people be aware that she's Guyanese. So I think, and I've been strategic with making sure that my kids are very aware that you are like first generation. So just be mindful that when you talk to people, like my parents are Guyanese, so I got it in me. So I think with this young lady, she is like every time she do an article, she always makes sure, like every article I've ever read on her moving forward, I think like her parents did a really, really great job instilling in her like this is important. You need to make it be known that you're of Guyanese descent. And she always like she'll open her story like, my parents are Guyanese, I'm of Guyanese descent. So I think now a lot more people are aware, like whether they're from of Jamaican descent. And Jamaicans has always been, very open about them being Jamaicans. But I noticed Guyanese people, they have always shy away from saying, "Oh, I'm Guyanese," and I'm always being one of these people. Like I let people know from jump, I am Guyanese. I'm not nothing else. That's all I am. Anybody have ever meet me, they'll know that I'm Guyanese. So I'm very, impressed with this young lady for that aspect that she makes it be known from the start. Like my parents are Guyanese. I'm of Guyanese descent. They were influential in my life. They were a part of, my family have been a part of my whole journey. This is what it is. So I've always been drawn to her for that aspect, that she let it be known that she is who she is, accept and bless. And that's what it is.
I love that. All right. I don't know if Miss M3, can you hear us?
Yes, the whole time.
All right. How are you tonight?
Doing well. I am out and about. I hoped to have been home by now because the Wi-Fi would be much more predictable there.
You're
But
fine.
I'm on my way home.
We just made adjustments, so it's fine. I'm going to let you go ahead in a moment and take it away explaining about one of your pioneering, powerful, pulchritudinous women. So I'm going to go ahead and let her take it away with Angela Davis for the next 3 minutes.
All right. So Angela Davis really inspires me. If you all don't know who she is a woman activist and currently 78 years old and still emeritus professor at UC Santa Cruz, where in her history, then California Governor Ronald Reagan had said that she would never teach in California again because of her political views. She actually ran for U.S. vice president under the communist ticket. And no, she didn't win, but she did run. And of course, a lot of people know her for her involvement with the Black Panther Party, but she's been a female activist for many, many years. And she was even arrested, and they had a Free Angela Davis movement. And in the 70s, her parents, she was born to in Alabama to two school teachers. So her dad and mom were school teachers. She was homeschooled. She was schooled abroad. She went to school in Africa, parts of the United States, and she became a professor at UCLA. And even though, despite her excellent service as a professor there, one particular year, she did not get asked back for her work that she did. There are so many wonderful things this woman has done. She's very inspirational, and the fact that she's still alive, a part of living history, just is super inspiring and encouraging. And if you all don't know about her, definitely read up on her, study about her. She is one powerful woman and just eloquent speaker. Poetically speaking, I would say Maya Angelou, but politically speaking, it's her all the way. And they've associated with Marxism and all different types of things, communism, Marxism, and all those things that used to be so negative in 1960s. And she's shined through them, and she's helped many generations to understand what it is, and that women are powerful too, and that we have a voice. And she's been a powerful voice throughout history, Black history, and women's civil rights history as well.
Exactly.
Actually, to add to what you just said, Mistress MP, she just redid a book about Walter Rodney. If you guys ever get the chance to read the book, How European Underdeveloped Africa, she was one of the biggest influence of getting that book redone and put back on the market. And that guy that she talked about in that book is actually Guyanese. So that's another topic for another day.
I loved seeing her voice in the modern civil rights because, like you said, she is so active, not just as a teacher, but like I saw her, she was on a Red Table Talk. I know that's still a hot topic right now. Then she was on, she was protesting right when they were doing everything with Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd. So to see her, I think she was like out of the top of a sunroof in a car, and everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, it's Angela Davis!" So she's like a superhero in the world of anything civil rights, education, history. So I love that you highlighted her, Mrs. M3. And I'm glad that you got to come with us tonight.
Yeah. I mean, and that the amazing thing about her is that she's a living part of history. Like, she's not like back in the day when she did this, that. Like, she's current,
I love that. Okay. I know Jackie, she had some technical issues, so we are just going to be flexible and make it work. I'm going to go to another one for Mrs. M3 since she's with us, and I know you also had some technical things earlier, so we don't want you to lose connection or charge. Okay, so I'm going to do another pioneering, powerful, pulchritudinous woman. Miss M3's highlighting is Billie Holiday, and I didn't even know her real name until I looked this up.
Eleanor Fagan, yes. Billie Holiday, our stage name, and her friends called her Lady Day. I just think she's such a beautiful woman, and despite the fact that she did have a struggle with drug addiction and in and out of rehabilitation, and eventually succumbed to complications of her drug addiction, not even because of overdosing, but because the medical care was really bad, which is ironic because in her lifetime, her songs were very political, and they try to like blackball her from entertainment because of the political nature of her songs. But she, ironically, had the understanding that her father could have survived longer had he had medical treatment, better care in the society that that her finances could afford. She just felt like he was neglected because he was Black. And in her situation, she was at the end of her life chained to a bed under arrest, false accusations and things that, just because she was against the norm and she spoke out politically, and she was, especially her Strange Fruit song, was banned from singing that song because it was so politically, it enraged people to hear the truth about lynchings and people being hung and in worse ways lynched and drugged through streets of the South. And so they tried to shut her up, and they tried to get her off stage. And the more that, she was blackballed or silenced, the more she would find a way to speak out. And the fact she had to go to court, and in court she won her case actually, to be able to present, and they had FBI following her on her road trips and things like that. And eventually, her message wasn't silenced. It couldn't be silenced, but she did pass away at it seemed like a very young age. But I'm inspired by her life story because she used art. And a lot of times we talk about that, when it comes to mental health, to put it in a song, to journal it, listen to music, dance. She became creative with her message, but she was still an activist in that way. So I respect and admire her for that, even though she's passed away.
Oh, I was muted. I definitely also admired her and learned about her when I taught literature. I had learned about the poem that inspired that song, right? Strange Fruit was written by a Jewish man. And then, of course, she took it into song and it blew up. And then, like you said, was totally disrespected and no one wanted to hear it, similar to Ida B. Wells, right, with the lynching history, but she was not to be dissuaded and continued pushing. I thought it was so bold. She was just like, nope, I'm going to continue, almost like I probably did it more so than she might wanted to, because she wanted to make sure the word was out and not going to be denied to be able to tell the truth. Okay. So again, we're just going to continue to be flexible. I think I see somebody else in the background. Okay, yes, Queen is here tonight. All right, Queen, how are you tonight?
Good. How's everybody?
Good. I'm sorry, I didn't see you right away. I hope you haven't been waiting too long.
No, I haven't.
All right. So we are going to go into one of the pioneering, powerful pulchritudinous women that Queen has given us tonight. I'm going to go ahead and start right here, and I'm going to let you take it away for the next 3 minutes, ma'am.
Well, I think Stacey Abrams is the first in a lot. She is the first Black woman to win the the majority rules to be a Democratic governor. She won a majority poll. I think she's currently running. She has a lot of work in voter rights, giving rights to undeserved or unrepresentative communities. She's just a powerhouse. It's a little overwhelming with all of her accolades, and she's an author as well. And I think her representing Georgia would be an amazing thing. I got a little I only could find like her schooling, her political, but there was really they just kept talking. Then they kept talking about her net worth, and I didn't think that was relevant. So I think all that she's doing, it still didn't show enough representation of who she is. So yeah,
I know. Everything in that last election she did. I mean, I know there were other Black women that helped her, but she was just, I mean, if it wasn't for her, nothing would have flipped in Georgia. And like you said, she's just been the first in so many ways.
I think the other young lady was Anaya. That's the one I was really.
No, you're fine. I'll pull them up.
Okay.
How are you doing tonight? Did you have a long day of work?
Yeah, can you leave my avatar picture up? Okay. No, I just had a long week, and then I fell asleep, so I'm sorry. I'm in here.
No, you're fine. I don't have her on here, but I can pull up and share the screen. The other young lady I know that you had put her name was Aliyah Logan. Can you speak to her, and then I'll pull up Anaya as well?
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
Sorry. Well, Aliyah Logan is, another powerhouse young person. These are her and Anaya they both started off in high school. Like, I think she's currently in high school. She does a lot I think she moved to a different school, so she does a lot of work with gun violence and stuff about the schools that she used to be a part of. I didn't get much on her. I mostly focused on Anaya, but hold on.
You're fine. I can share the screen where I have a picture of her and an article about her pulled up, because everyone definitely needs to know her as well. Okay, here we go. Can everyone see the screen? No. Oh, there it is. Had to add it. There we go.
So Anaya Dillard, she started getting in the political or community service when she was 5 years old.
She started off as helping with an annual holiday gift giving program at this place called the Ruffland Nursing Home at Kingsbrook Jewish Medical Center in Brooklyn. And she provided items for kids 0 to 18 years old that suffered severe physical and neurological disabilities. And she would provide like pajamas, blankets, toiletries, musical instruments, and toys. So it kind of sparked her activism, philanthropist, social entrepreneur, content creator, and aspiring filmmaker. She does back to school drives for the children at a place called Sierra House in New Jersey for single moms. She's the founder and CEO of a nonprofit called The Next Come Up, which is a nonprofit encouraging young people to explore activism, pursue community service, and raising awareness through creative expression. She helped organize protests demanding justice for victims of gun violence, climate change, and school shootings. She created a hashtag annual campaign to raise money called my red stripe, and it's to eradicate period shaming and to raise money for that. She started a Juneteenth celebration in her hometown. She was the third Black female to be appointed student council president in her school's history. She organized civil rights protests with over 3,000 people being there physically and over 26,000 people being on social media. She was honored by Ultra Beauty in 2021 for Muse 100 campaign. She's featured in Washington Post, CNN, Elle magazine, 17, Glamour magazine, and this place called Anti-Racism Daily. Currently, she's at Rutgers University in Newark, New Jersey, studying journalism, video production, and minoring. This young girl rocks.
I was gonna say she's done it all.
Anything I've ever seen, and she started really. She founded her nonprofit at the age of 15.
Wow.
You know, yeah, I think it's very important to, in order for the societal mindset to shift, especially with reaching these young people today, it has to be a fellow peer. It has to be someone that they respect, someone that they look up to. And her nonprofit, when you go to the website, she has other young people, 15-year-olds, running certain parts. One girl, I forgot her name, she's 15 years old, and she runs the social media aspect. So it's very important to give back, empower, and pass the baton. But, you know, it's also important for peers, young people, to see their own step up and really lead the way. You know, and I just think these kids, and she graduated with honors while doing all of this, you know, like I'm like, I barely passed the SAT, you know. I wasn't doing nothing. So yeah, I think these young people are really doing big things, you know, and it's good to see. You know,
I'm excited you told us about her, because I had obviously not heard about her. And like you said, she's making a huge, impact beyond what people, we've talked about many pioneers, powerful, pulchritudinous women tonight, but she is, like it says on this article so aptly, the literal civil activist of tomorrow, because she can inspire, people from her age, hopefully, people our age as well. I know we're all different ages, but older people than her, right? To continue on with efforts, because she is inspiring. Ooh, beyond a shadow of a doubt.
She also was featured, I guess, on Black Girls Rock, that annual show, and she was given a scholarship for, a grant from that as well. So, yeah.
Well, I am just like floored. She's amazing. So we are going to now go to another lady that is a local, I believe, of Miss M3. Miss M3, would you be so kind to speak about this next person? I don't know if she can still. Okay, go ahead.
I can hear you. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I made it home.
Glad you're safe back home.
Okay. So Miss Panda, I do not know personally. She is a local braid stylist. She is licensed full service with her hair service, with her coloring, dyes, braiding. And she is, which is rare, a person who not only braids hair, but she also sells the hair herself. Like she has her own hair line extensions, which is rare because usually the African American community, we wear braids, but we buy them from non-African American communities. So her information is there. She's located, she spends a lot of time in Richmond. She was educated in Los Angeles, and she teaches online. She teaches people how to braid. She teaches them all the things that she went to school and paid to do. She teaches people how to do, and she does it with perfection. Even though, she's, she has a certain style and flavor. I'll say that. It's not posh and it's not, prim and proper. Okay. But the things that she knows and the way that she shows you how to do things online, like imagine, she has to pay every year to update her cosmetology license. So that 14-year-olds, 13-year-olds can get their hustle on, legally. And good because the fact that when she shares it for free on YouTube, and she shows you exactly where to go to get her store, the hair care line, the products that she uses, everything. So she's an entrepreneur. She's a young lady, just got married last year, and is really exciting to learn about her, to know about her. And it's dope as Pana, but the XX stands for something else. Yeah. But she is really, she's a delight to watch. She's entertaining and an entrepreneur who she really deserves the accolades that she's been given online, as well as clients who pay top dollar for the work that she does. And I'm just really proud of her. And I wanted to highlight her as a local talent and entrepreneur. So
that's I love Pana. That. I went ahead and put her YouTube in the chat, and I also put her Instagram in the chat. And it looks like, I didn't know if you knew her personally, but I love, you told a lot about her. Hopefully, she'll get more attention. But it looks like her name is Breonna Taylor, according to her Instagram. But all right.
Who is that? Hannah?
That's what it says.
Breonna Taylor, I think it's like, power to her, because Breonna Taylor was one of the persons that got shot by the police.
Okay. I knew that, but hers is spelled differently on there. So I'm not sure if she was just, I don't know. But if you look on her Instagram, how she had it, but okay.
Check her out. Check her out on Instagram, on YouTube. Absolutely. Follow her. Absolutely. Yes.
All right. And then thank you, Daryl Long, who is showing some support tonight. And you can't fool Pops. Salute to y'all. I think they were shouting out Queen as well earlier. She stole my thunder, just stopping by to say hi to everyone. And then Arshawn Dave showed some love earlier, said, made me look that word up, Pulchritudinous. Definitely I had to looked that up a few days ago. Definitely just means beautiful women. We were talking about pioneering, powerful, and pulchritudinous. Definitely last, right? Because powerful and pioneering are first.
Yes, it's physical beauty, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's attraction, physical beauty. Yes. All right. So now I know Jackie was still having some technical issues. Queen shared some amazing ones. Abiola shared some amazing ones. I do want to still highlight another that Jackie was going to say, even though she was not able to get back on, because one of the most amazing, powerful, pioneering, pulchritudinous women is the First Lady, Michelle Obama, who Jackie was going to talk about. I would love to hear her perspective about it later. I know, obviously, from my perspective, she's amazing. She was obviously the first Black First Lady, first Black female First Lady. I read her book, Becoming, and I got my students to read some of that and just learned so much about beyond her as a First Lady, right? Learned about her as a female, learned about things she struggled with as a mother, as a woman. She actually turned that book into a young adult book as well, and did an interview in January, actually, that was on BET with Yara Yashidi from Blackish and from Grownish on her own now. She also, though, wrote American Grown about her time, learning things, which I learned more about in Becoming when she made the garden at the White House that now other First Ladies have taken on as well, but she founded that. Of course, she was always instrumental with health, continuing to promote voting rights. Anything anyone else want to add about her? I know I was just trying to make sure she was highlighted because that was who Jackie wanted to highlight. Abby or Mrs. M3 or Queen, would y'all like to say anything about First Lady Michelle Obama?
She is very inspirational. Reading her book, Becoming Michelle, she went through a rags to riches story, and just shows you that anyone can do it. I appreciate her very strong ideals and characteristics about fitness and nutrition, of course. And I really appreciated how she got the nation on track with eating proper fruits and vegetables. I wish that it had gone away. In the school settings for the kids, eating actual meals and helping schools have stipends so that there could be real life cooks like that prepared the meals, not just warm them up in the microwave. That was her. And it was beneficial for the time that they were in office with her campaign. But regimes change, administration changes. And with that, some good things stop, but I hope that it'll come back with the current presidency.
One thing that I really admired in Becoming that I read that she talked about was called the swerve. And she talked about learning that, and she didn't want to learn it. It was a hard lesson that she learned. And it was talking about how sometimes we're on a path in life, right? And we have this idea of like, I have to go through this step, either education, marital, babies, whatever it was. And she was just very rigorously trying to follow that step process that everyone maybe feels pressured to do in life. But she had a boyfriend in college who was not abiding by this, and he swerved. And she was in, like, oh my gosh, I can't date him. He wants to be a mascot instead of going through with his degree. But I love that she acknowledged later that, she missed out on some things because she refused to swerve. And I guess obviously she's teaching Aliyah and Sasha to do that. And she definitely acknowledged that Barack, her husband, the president, right, definitely would swerve and be much more comfortable being flexible like that. But I just love when people are self-reflective, right? And they're like, not just trying to be like, I'm perfect, everything. And that whole book was like that. She just told, everything that maybe she wasn't comfortable saying as a first lady because just the judgment and specifically, right, being the first Black female first lady, she was very, very transparent that was harder, right? As much as people try to deny that, she was very adamant with that. And it was amazing, profound.
Yeah, and maybe some of that kind of rubbed off on her to help her daughter to be able to have that gap year, when she first decided to do that and travel the world first before going to college. Yeah, she reminds me also of our the Californias first Surgeon General, first of everything, first woman, first of all of California's Surgeon Generals. There never was one prior to her, and African American that Governor Gavin Newsom appointed. She's a mom of 3 boys, married, and she takes care of Surgeon General things that require attention in the state of California. And she wrote a book called The Deepest Well, talking about the ACEs. Let me see if I can get that and put it on the stream, because it's a really good read. And she just talks about, how children, no matter what their background, when they are, it's the deepest well, healing the long-term effects of childhood adversities, no matter what nationality or what have you. Can you see this? Is it backwards?
Oh, yeah.
You can see it.
We can see
Nadine Harris Burks. Is that? Can you see this? Yeah, she is the Surgeon General of California, first ever. And I got a chance to see her speak at the Kirk conference in UC Berkeley. And she's an eloquent speaker, and she just spent time. She's like down to earth, took time with everybody, took pictures with us, and answered our questions from her book. And not all of us had even known that she was an author or that she was the Surgeon General, because some things like that during COVID, unless you're watching TV, you don't hear it, you don't know it. And we got to meet her in person. That was really an awesome honor to be able to do. And she spent like probably 2 hours with us, and then she's like, I gotta go with my boys, just down to earth person. But yeah, if you get a chance to pick it up from your local library, purchase it. It's a really good read. And childhood adversities, they talk about it a lot with when we, as educators, especially high school where I teach, things that kids come to school with that are not conducive to learning. Like sometimes I remember working in public education in a particular city, and kids come into school, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. They're like, I just had to walk through a group of women soliciting me, why don't I come and sell my body? Or a group of guys, why don't I come help them sell rock and help them sell marijuana? And these were 8th graders at the time, it's just 2013, 14. And I'm like, kids shouldn't have to go through stuff like that, but it was their natural everyday situation walking to school, whereas their counterparts, and in this particular city, there were, I think in the 2 years that I was in that particular district, I had one student that was person of color. So it was kind of like a school that was chartered and segregated. And their counterparts, of course, they're, parents drive them to school. They don't have to talk to people on the street, kind of thing. And you just see the difference. Like by lunchtime, they're kids. But when they first walk in, they're just like, leave me alone. I don't want to read this. I don't want to do that. And you're wondering what they're going through. And to the point where there was a particular teaching seminar that we had, and our principal got up and said, hey, this is what's going on with our kids. And these kids are, struggling. Some of them are telling us, they're being, one particular woke up by an adult in their household blowing marijuana smoke in their face. That's what this book talks about with the ACEs. So.
Wow. Well, I'm excited to hear about that. And thank you. I love learning about other people's local leaders, right? That everyone might not get to hear about from different states, or just, if they haven't made national attention yet. So the last lady, woman, late, used to be a Supreme Court justice as well, just like we are celebrating tonight with Katanji Brown Jackson, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She was so iconic to female history in America. So many people don't know things that we as women would not have access to if it weren't for this woman. So literally in 1971 alone, she won 5 equal rights cases before the Supreme Court, and they were all instrumental in ending overt discrimination against women. She actually would have like these back ways, that she would find to do things as well if people were denying women's rights. So she got this guy actually equal rights because he was not being paid adequately for caring for his mother at home because they did not think that men should be, I guess, basically staying at home. And so that was one of the biggest ways she was able to then say, okay, well, if you're going to help men, then you can do the same exact thing for women. So she also was instrumental in getting women to be able to get their own credit cards without having their husbands or men sign as a co-signer. She also was able to have women be able to get their own mortgages, again, without having a man be the one co-signing with you. Of course, if some women don't ever want to get married, right? So that would have not been possible without Ruth Bader Ginsburg and the mark that she made on history and equal protection for women. She applied the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment to strike down laws that discriminated against women time and time again. But she was definitely a first in many ways on the Supreme Court and just in history as a woman. And she, similar to Angela Davis, right, was very active literally up until her death. She was literally in her deathbed trying to help with things. And she was saying she wouldn't stop, right? She didn't die until 2020, but she was still trying to actively work to help with things, just like John Lewis had done, right? So definitely someone I wanted to end out highlighting. Now this image, one of my friends shared last night, and I just thought it was so beautiful. This is by an artist. And if you just see the image, right, I know tonight, again, we're celebrating Katanji Brown-Jackson and her big, right, amazing win in the face of adversity when people were trying to disrespect her with the nomination that she was confirmed regardless of. And this young Black girl, right, just literally now she's able to see herself represented. I just thought it was so beautiful. So I definitely wanted to highlight that amazing artist. His work, just like I've seen now when I looked at his page after seeing that one post, he does this about a lot of different things. I saw him post about the lady that was 100 that just retired as a national park ranger. So he does all kind of things like that. But I'm definitely going to be continuing to check him out. So if you're interested. And then lastly, again, everyone we've talked about tonight, they're all pioneering women. They're all powerful women. They're all pulchritudinous. But again, that's the last priority, is to be aesthetic or beautiful, right? You know, we should always focus on women being history, everyone's history, right? And it shouldn't just be celebrated in March, which is why this night was very intentional, both to celebrate Katanji Brown-Jackson's newly, right, confirmed as our Supreme Court Justice, the first ever Black female Supreme Court Justice. And we are so excited that you came and shared this evening with us.
Before you go, Jessica, I just want to say something.
Go ahead.
There, for me, I don't know about everybody else on the planet, but for me in America, there's too many firsts. Mm-hmm. We had our last president, which I really don't like to say his name. Anyway, he has always said a lot about other countries being, you know what whole countries. But in America, if we're supposed to be so progressive, why is there so many firsts in this country? Because if you travel throughout the rest of the world, there's not a lot of firsts. America should not still be having firsts of anything. So a lot of times I'm often conflicted with when we say, oh, the first African American woman, or the first Black person, the first Native American, the first anything. It should, if this country should be so progressive, why are there so many firsts?
Exactly.
But yet throughout the rest of the world, we have seen women presidents in Africa. We've seen women presidents throughout the Caribbean. We've seen, you know, other
Germany, everywhere,
progressive more than America, but we're supposed to be everything the world look at. So that's just something to leave you guys with, and, you know, to sit on.
Exactly. Well, again, thank you so much for being with us tonight. I'm so excited we got to talk about this, but I love what Abby left us with. There should not be as many or any firsts anymore, but we do have all of these amazing, powerful, pioneering, pulchritudinous women who have been first, who are still continuing, many of them, right, to break and shatter the glass ceilings that, again, never should have existed, but definitely still do. All right. Have a good evening. We will see you again. Thank you so much.
Bye, guys.
Bye.